I found the most value in these three books. I feel the concept of the book would be number one for me, but the book itself, I have a little bit of a bias here to keep it on number two, because right now I am in the process of writing my own book. I feel they are going to stay with me, and he is a man who just pumps books. He writes books every year. I think he is an indulgent writer. He wants to explain a lot. They are going to keep making me nudge in the right direction. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to a new video on our channel Read Travel Become. In this video, I'm going to rank the top 10 non-fiction books that I have read this year. This is a collection of biographies, histories, self-help, all of these genres put together in under one umbrella of non-fiction. We do this every year, and I'm so excited to share this list of my ranking this year. I'm sure any of the book that you pick up from this list is going to add value to your lives. I have also made a list on fiction books which you can check out. All of these books are gold recommendations, so make sure you watch the video till the end. You may never know which thought or fact may resonate with you and change the course of your life. So let's get started. Let's go. On number 10, I have the book A Movable Feast by writer Ernest Hemingway. Hemingway is known for writing Old Man and the Sea. He has also written a lot of other books, but I particularly picked up this book because I love the way he has written about Paris in this book. So this book of his was actually released after he died by suicide. It was posthumously released by one of his widows. And this book talks about how early in the 1920s, when he was aspiring to become a writer, he visited Paris, and after going there, how he was indulging in a lot of Parisian experiences, talking to other people, having great food, contemplating, philosophizing about life. He has written about his encounters with a lot of other writers during that time as well. Look out for the part where he writes about Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda Fitzgerald, the couple. For those of you who don't know, Fitzgerald has written The Great Gatsby, and this encounter was before he had written the book. There's lots of interesting stories around other writers as well. So very fun read. If you've seen that movie Midnight in Paris, it's a reminiscent version in bookish form for that movie. It reminds you of old classical retro vibes, piano playing and old Parisian customs and indulgent behaviors. So yeah, on number 10 I have A Movable Feast. On number 9, I again have a memoir. It's written by Oliver Sacks, who was a leading neuro researcher and neuroscientist. He has written about his early days, about grappling up with life. I don't know how to put it why I love anything that he writes. I love because he sees beauty in every little thing. He was one of the earliest neurobiology researchers to find stories and symphony in all of his clinical patients. There was an uproar of how can you write stories about your patients, but this person was fundamentally so curious in life, and he was fascinated by biology, by music, by arts, that you just see how a scientist's brain is also combining arts and coming up with something very new. So this book is about his story. A lot of it is also about his adventures when he used to bike around America and Canada. He's written beautifully. There's some very nice anecdotes, very feel-good anecdotes about how he was grappling with life and coming of age. So yeah, on number 9 is On the Move by Oliver Sacks. Number 8 is a book that I actually reread this year. I had read this book long back, I think 4 or 5 years back, when I had just started this channel, and I had recommended this book on my channel long back. I remember crying back then, but this year I decided to pick it up again and see if I can have the similar kind of reaction to what I felt the first time I read it. And this time I cried again. The book is called When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. You might have heard of it. Paul Kalanithi was one of the best neurosurgeons in America, and he was diagnosed with a disease with cancer, and he was battling with it and trying to understand how his whole life comes down to this point. The way he has written about his life, it's so sad and it's so heartbreaking that in a very weird way it makes you very grateful for your life. You start thinking about how everything boils down to death, and how death is the ultimate destination, and how it changes your perspective about everything. The last 15-20 pages of the book is just, it crushes your heart in many ways. I don't want to give out a lot, but if you find time, do read this heart-rendering memoir by Paul Kalanithi. You would have a great time reading this book, and you will come out a different person. It will stay with you. It will remind you of how beautiful life can be, and how limiting life can be. So it's how important it is to appreciate the little things. So yeah. On number 7 is a very, very short non-fiction book and a fascinating one. You can finish it literally one sitting. It's hardly 100 pages. The book is called 84 Charing Cross Street. It's a real life collection of exchanges of letters between a writer in America and a London-based bookseller. So these people just started writing to each other during early times, and while they were writing, the writer was requesting books to this guy, and this guy was sending books to her in America, and they just formed a bond, and over almost 20 years they talked to each other. And this book is a collection of actual letters that these guys discussed. If you are remotely a book lover, you like literature, you must pick up this book. It's very light-hearted. They talk about literature, they talk about their personal problems, and it's very nice to just see how people used to think about literature at that point of time. So yeah, on number 7, I would have 84 Charing Cross. This 84 Charing Cross Street is basically at the address of the bookstore in London. On number 6, I have a book called Leave Only Footprints, which is written by a CBS journalist who has also won an Emmy apparently. He has written about him visiting all of the national parks in the USA. So this book is specifically for people who love national parks, and specifically if people have been to these national parks. One of my goals every year is to visit as many national parks as I can. I recently visited Acadia and Yosemite. It was outstanding. It was out of this world. So it was very nice to read about these national parks from a journalistic point of view. He has written about each national park in a very personalized way. One thing that America never fails to surprise me is how it thinks about the national parks. When you go to these places, you are just astounded by the level of detail people have put into maintaining these parks. They are huge, they are beautiful, and the steps that people are taking to preserve it's something else. Like I would give 100 on 100 to America for this. I recently went to Yosemite during a government shutdown. Even though there were park rangers who were working there without salaries, putting in all of their effort to preserve everything and make sure that people have a good time there. While we were driving along the road, we saw a bear on the side, a small bear, and the park rangers literally came in running and they stopped all of the vehicles so that the bear could cross safely, and the people wouldn't disturb the natural habitat of the bear. So and this was all without salary. Just think about it. Like I'm extremely lucky to see people who are hugely passionate about nature and preserving nature. It's just an amazing feeling. So this book is basically a collection of going to national parks and reading about national parks. If you're not into these things, it's okay, you won't like this book, but if you are remotely interested in knowing more about any of the national parks in USA, do pick up this book. On number 5 is a very unique book. It's called Making Numbers Count. This book talks about how when you talk about numbers, when you give presentations on numbers, how you can better give a presentation understanding how human minds grasp the idea of numbers. So rather than basically saying like 100,000 or something, you can always say a population of a country. That way your mind can make the comparison. The writers have talked about how human minds are incapable of going and comprehending a list of numbers about a certain limit. You can't comprehend the difference between a million and a billion. It's a lot. He's given out fascinating examples. He's given out very, very funny anecdotes about how talking about numbers changes everything. Because I work in technology, numbers are my daily bread and butter. So it's very nice to learn new techniques about how you talk numbers and how you share graphs and analysis. I'm putting it right up there on number 5 because it's a very actionable book. I've learned a lot from this book and I keep implementing the things that I've learned from this book. So yeah, Making Numbers Count is a brilliant recommendation if you are remotely interested in giving presentations which involve numbers. Number 4 is an Osho book. I feel non-fiction isn't complete without an Osho recommendation. So this was the first Osho book that I've ever read. It's called Courage. The Joy of Living Dangerously. A lot of timeless principles, very hard-hitting concepts, a little unconventional, but very, very useful, I would say, for me personally. It gave me a lot of frameworks and gave me a lot of tools to use to think about how do I think about going forward in life, how do I think about being courageous, how do I think about maintaining interpersonal relationships. So amazing book, no complaints here. It's just, I won't say it's a motivating book, it kind of gives you a very hard reality check of how you can think about it. Now we come to the top 3 books of this particular list. I am very picky when it comes to non-fiction, so these 3 books are like gold recommendations. I found the most value in these 3 books. I feel they are going to stay with me and they are going to keep making me nudge in the right direction. On number 3, it's a book called Never Split the Difference. It talks about how you negotiate. He talks about how anything and everything in life is basically a negotiation. You are negotiating your job, you're negotiating your life, you're negotiating with your life partner, you're negotiating every little time. Right now, I'm negotiating with you guys to watch me and get value. Everything is a negotiation. So the book is written by an expert FBI hostage negotiator. He has talked about these examples from his life where he had to have life or death situations when it comes to negotiations. So he has given out some principles as to how you can negotiate with people. He's given out very good actionable insights. Highly recommended if you are interested by what I'm trying to say right now. So pick it up. I don't want to share all of the tactics that he has used. Maybe I can make a separate video on that. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to do that. But don't miss out on this book. It has got a lot of valuable nuggets to add in your life. Number 2 is, actually, I have a little bit of a bias here to keep it on number 2 because right now I am in the process of writing my own book and I'm trying to learn from the giants, stand on the shoulders of giants. I have a newsletter on which I try writing a little bit every week, so you can subscribe to that. I'm trying to be more active here and on the newsletter as well, apart from my job, which is taking a lot of my time these days. Hence the inconsistency in uploading the videos. I'm just figuring out the time so that I want to give maximum value to everything. So this book is about writing, and it's written by the master writer himself. It's written by Stephen King. The book is called On Writing. Stephen King has written about how he views writing, how he views the art of writing a book. He is a man who just pumps books. He writes books every year. He's pumping out like 2 to 3 books every year, and he's just a writing machine. So I wanted to understand what makes him tick, what makes him overcome the huge activation barrier of sitting down and writing something. He's given out fascinating examples of how he became a writer and how he views writing. So very fascinating. So if you are interested in writing, do give it a try. It's written in the classic Stephen King style, no bullshit, all out, but very actionable, very actionable. The number 1 book that I read this year, I feel the concept of the book would be number 1 for me, but the book itself could have been 100 pages short. I think he is an indulgent writer. He wants to explain a lot. It's like, I get it, like you need to stop here, but the writer just kind of explains and kind of goes into a lot of tangents trying to prove his point, whereas you love the concept already and you've understood the concept already. The book is called Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. Very important read for me personally. Being in the US, I feel I have gone through a lot of personal problems when it comes to a lot of different spheres, but Anti-Fragile talks about how in the presence of something which is not predictable, in the presence of something which is not in your control, how do you not break? On the contrary, you become more strong, you become anti-fragile. Let's say a problem comes, rather than the problem beating you up, you come out even more stronger because of that problem. This is the central idea of the book, and he has given out a lot of examples to validate his theory, which is amazing to read because recently when I was going through something very bad in my life, it reminded me of all of these concepts that I can choose to let this problem break me, or I can choose to come out stronger. Now, what are the ways that I can come out stronger? So I used some of the examples, I reread the book, and I just found it to be very helpful. One thing here is that it's a little tough to read. You might feel that the author is going nowhere. I would say read blogs about it, read his own tweets about it, and then try to get in the book to get a full context. But absolutely banger book, absolutely valuable book for me. I'm looking forward to reading more of his work. I have read The Black Swan as well. I think I want to read Skin in the Game next, and Fooled by Randomness as well. So yeah, that was the list. That was the top 10 ranking list that I had for this year. Please let me know in the comment section what you think should be included in these lists, and if you think a book is number 1 according to you, let me know. Do subscribe to the channel. I am going to be more consistent, I promise you that, in uploading videos. There's just a lot going on. I don't want to complain. I don't want to be that guy who's like giving out reasons. I will be more consistent going forward. But thank you so much for watching the video till here. It was really nice talking today, and yeah, hopefully we read a lot more books in 2026. So that's all for this video. See you in the next one.